Hello, everyone. This is John Galt speaking here with a live stream for you guys where I'm going to talk about two products updated and how many to go, the changes, some of the changes that are different, and just general hanging out. So, I just dropped a link in chat. This is a link to my UE4 marketplace page. And if you guys would like to take any of my products for a test drive, go to my marketplace page, click up one of the products, and right here, there is a test package build, version 4.15 through version 4.27, and a new one, test package build V50. So you just click this up, and it's going to tell you, oh my God, you're going to die. Don't do it. This is a link to my Google Drive. So it's telling you to continue to external website. And then it brings you this up. And then you can either click download here or here. And it's going to tell you it's loaded up with viruses, which it ain't. And you can click download anyway, and it will download it. I'm going to go ahead and grab both of these because we're going to talk about the two product updates that are done, what's different, what changed, and why some things didn't. Okay, so we got that one. And now we're going to go get the other one. So in order, I told you guys simple capture the flag would be first. Then my multiplayer TPS basic would be second. This one isn't live yet, just to be clear here. The test build is live, but the actual download of the product isn't live yet. I just submitted it a little bit earlier today, and it's still got to go through Epic, but I'm quite confident that it'll be live in a day or two. Hopefully. I tested it pretty good, but you never know, right? You never know. I might have missed something. And then, you know, Epic will kick it back and say, hey, stupid, this is broken. So, well, let's hope that don't happen. But you never know. Right? You never know. So you can go the FPS Basic and the Teams and Class Select, they have demos, packaged demos that you can download. But those two are not updated yet. Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit later in the stream. So with that, we're going to go to my downloads. We are going to do this, and we are going to do this, and we'll do them in order, right? So the first one I updated was simple capture the flag. So after you download them, they're in zip files. So whatever zip you guys like to use, I use WinRAR, and I'm just going to say extract here, and it'll do this little dealio. And then you end up with a folder that looks like that. To launch it, you go inside this folder and you simply double click that, and it's going to tell you, oh God, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't trust that John Galt guy. He's a shady guy. Don't do it. Okay, let me light me up a smoke here. So much for not smoking in my house, huh? So you have single player or multiplayer as your options. You can go in, you know, single player. And now in the simple capture the flag, you are presented with the ability now to pick between a male and a female. So I'm going to pick a female. And you only get to play as the lobby team when you're in single player mode. So really, this is just in here for someone who would like to start building a game and have multiplayer and single player, or single player only. You can forgo all the team stuff and all that stuff, and you can just go this way. And so, yeah, you only spawn in on the lobby team when you go single player route. There is no player list in single player, right? There's no point in it. You're the only one here. And it does not host a session, so nobody will know that you're playing. Okay? And you can hit your tab button, and you can switch between a male and a female, so it will kill you. Just be aware, when you switch, you will die, and then it will respawn you as the male. Okay? The other thing that changed is that you now have left CTRL for Crouchola, right? So it didn't have crouch in this template before. It does have it now. Okay? And another thing that you're going to notice is that I did away with all the UE4 maps, right? So all these maps in here now have a new map for you guys to build on. I just basically jettisoned all the UE4 stuff. So it's got the new sky dome, the new terrain, the procedural meshes of mountains out in the distance, and all that crap. Okay, and now we're going to go back to the main menu, and this time around we're going to go in multiplayer. We're going to host game. So one change that I made is that this is now pre-populated. Before, these were all blank and you had to click it to select something. So now you don't have to do that. You can still pick between map 1 and 2. You can still set how many players you want, up to 10. That can be changed. You guys can go change it, but I'm telling you, with a listen server, it ain't going to work worth a damn over 10 players. Okay? And then you can set your time limits in increments. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and just hit host game here, and we'll pick a chick. And now you get presented with the option of picking a team. You can go to red team, go to blue team, or you can go directly in the lobby. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit red team as a chick. Everything is the same, right? New map, new starter map for you guys to start building on. The capture the flag mechanic is exactly the same as it was. 5 flag caps, you win. When you win, it cycles the map, and it will take you as the host and whoever's connected with you. Okay? You still have crouch here, and when you bring up your tab menu, the server gets the ability to reset the timer still, or he can travel to a new map. So let's just go ahead and travel to map 2. Once you get into map 2, you pick again, male or female, and pick your team, and now you're on a different map. Still a new UE5 version of a map, but a new map nonetheless. Everything's written in blue, and I swapped the sides. You know, this template's not about map building. You guys know that. Delete everything I did and build your own maps, however you want them to be. In multiplayer, you hit the P key, and you do have your player list, right? And it splits the players apart by whichever team they're on at the time. Okay? Same as before. Yeah, and that's it. I mean, really, that's the whole update. The other part of the update was just mechanical stuff, right? Like, I took some stuff off of Event Tick that was on Event Tick. I did away with the Event Tick to optimize this a little better. After I re-looked at it again, I figured out a better way to do it. And so that got done away with. Let's see, what else? Might have reconfigured the menu system just a smell to make it a little bit easier to add new maps and things like that. There might be a video made in the future talking specifically about the mechanical side of the updates, but this is really, you know, as an advertisement, this is all you guys need to see. Okay? New. Did away with the old gray dude, the old gray skeleton, the old gray animations. That is no longer going to be in this project going forward. if there's any updates that come after this one, the UE4 gray dummy is gone. They did away with it at Epic, so I did away with it too. Okay. Now, I will mention that all my products are going to be using the simplified new skeleton. Okay, it's still the new skeleton, but there's two versions of that skeleton now. There is a simplified version, and then there is a complex version. Okay, well, it's in the name, guys. Simple capture the flag means everything is simple, including the mannequin. Now, these animations, previously this used twin blast animations, his travel mode animations. These are now using the animations that are found in the Lyra project for Unreal Engine 4. So that's where these animations came from, if any of you guys are wondering. Okay, and there's no reason to show the multiplayer stuff. You guys know this works. That bug that was in it the other day where when she went to the lobby and it wasn't changing her, it wasn't updating her skin correctly on the client, I got that ironed out and fixed, so that wasn't a big deal. Okay. And I'll go ahead and win here, and it still pops that same screen up that says which team wins. And then voila, you wait for a duration, 10 seconds, I believe, and then it will take you and whoever is connected to the new map. And now we come back in as a man on the blue team, and now we're back on map 1. Okay, that covers the simple capture the flag. And now we're going to do the TPS basic update. Let me go ahead and delete that. We will extract here. And I will tell you guys right out of the gate that this update was a pain in the ever-loving balls. Okay? And we'll talk a little bit about why after I show you guys some of the changes. Okay. So we'll go in single player. And single player, this is a little bit different than the simple capture the flag, because this one does not have teams. Okay, there's no teams in this. This is set up as a 5-person co-op multiplayer. So when you choose to go in single player in this template, really it's exactly the same as the multiplayer, with the exception of there's no team stuff. And when you go in single player, it does not host an online session. Okay. So we're going to go ahead now and we will go back to the main menu and we'll bump into multiplayer. Okay. So the menu system changed just a little bit, right? There's a little background work that had to be done here. One of the other changes is if you come over here and read the directions, the constructions, it says now that you press the G key to toggle gender. So if you press G, you can play as a chick, or you can press G again and you can play as a dude. Okay. Now, another thing is that these animations are the exact same animations that were in this previously. Okay. And there's a very huge reason for that we'll talk about here in a minute. Okay. All the pickups and everything work exactly the same as they did. All your weapons are exactly the same as they was. One difference is that now when we go up here and we, ow, let me run away from these people and get a sniper rifle so that we can zoom in. Okay, so now you're going to notice that the bad guys are now using the new meshes. Your teammate, if you're a female, you're pink. And if you are a dude, you're blue. Okay. The enemies, however, on the other hand, are the females are yellow. Okay. And the males are red. So now you have male and female enemy combatants. Okay. And they still work exactly the same as they did. And this ragdoll, by the way, is terrible, but that came from Epic that way. That ain't me. I didn't do that. I fixed the muzzle flash on the turret. Somehow I missed that. The turret had no muzzle socket. So I corrected that. So now when the turret shoots, the muzzle flash is actually on the end of the barrel where it's supposed to be. Okay. Okay. Everything else is exactly the same. There is a difference though. And I don't know, we might actually have to go into the project to talk about it, but let's just say this, okay? Since there's now a gender, a male and a female, I was going to have to go in there. All these enemies that are standing out there, you know how in the previous videos, instructional videos for this template, you can select the enemy combatant in the level and you can set his color. You could set which weapons he carries and all that stuff. Well, I was going to make it where you could set the gender, but instead what I did was I randomized it. So what that means is every time you start the game, it's going to give you a different, oh shit. It's going to give you a different mixture of male and female enemy combatants. Okay. All females are going to be yellow. All males are going to be red. However, the mixture of the male and females will be different, and the weaponry that they carry will be different. Okay. So what does that mean exactly? Well, if there's 20 enemies in this first room, one time you play, it might give you 8 females and 12 males. The next time you play, you might get 12 females and 8 males and any mixture in between. Okay, so it's not predictable anymore. It's randomized at whether they're going to be male or female. You still have to set which weapons you want them to carry and their health values and all that stuff. Everything's still the same. The biggest difference is that now there's male and female, and they are randomized as to whether they're going to be a male with a rocket launcher or a female with a rocket launcher. Okay? You still get to tell them which guns they get to have, but the mesh that they use is now randomized. Okay? All new maps, right? So did away with all the Unreal Engine 4 mappery, same as the other simple capture the flag. So now, whether you're on map 1 or 2, the layout is still the same, but the scenery, the landscape, and the skybox and the mountains out in the distance are UE5 stuff now. Okay. And I think that's it, right? There's some other things that went on, you know, like changing some background stuff, optimizing things a little, cleaning up things a little bit, commenting things a little differently. But other than that, mechanically, the biggest difference is that now you can press the G key if you want to be a chick or a dude, and the enemy combatants are male and female. And that's it. Okay. Okay. So with that, we can go ahead and kill this. And delete that. And that. Okay. Okay. So why didn't I change the animations to something? See, all these animations in this template are from the animation starter pack, with the minor exception of a few that I had to custom make. And you might be asking, why didn't I change them? Well, I'm going to show you why. we will actually go into the project that you purchase. See, those that you download, that's just a little demo, a packaged demo. When you buy it, you actually get to go into the editor and, you know, look through all the blueprints and all that stuff. The TLDR, why it's still using those animations, is because there were so many animations that were used in this project. I would have had to extract all those animations out of the Lyra and then remake a bunch of stuff, remake a bunch of blend spaces, remake a bunch of montages. Okay. Plus custom animations would have to been remade. And that's just too much, right? Just too much work for me to do. I just ain't doing it. And it doesn't add that much. Most people will be using their own animations anyway. So there's really no point in me doing that. Okay. Also, I include in all my projects now the level prototyping folder that comes in the default third person template in UE5. There ain't much in here, but I went ahead and included it just to save people from having to go. Right. So these are the 3 or 4 little things that they use to create the default third person map. So it's got a ramp and some cylinder corners and, you know, nothing fancy, but all of them now include that. So they also both have, you know, once again, it's a simplified skeleton. So if I open this up, it's still the new skeleton, right? See, it's still got the index metacarpal bones and all those extra bones, but it doesn't have near as many as the complex. So there you have that. And it's got the male and the female. Now, there's some materials that are included in here. And you guys can, you know, tinker with the colors and stuff of these. So if you go into the Manny folder, you can see that there's 3 different colors of materials. He's got a red, or I mean a blue, a purple, and a red. And then Quinn, the female, she's got a blue, a pink, and a yellow. So just so you guys know, if you're not happy with the colors, you can come in here and right here for the team color, you can change this to whatever suits your fancy. Okay. See, you can literally just whatever color you want it to be. And the second material is the one that has the glow, right? So you can change this here, same as the other one. You can change the color, but alternately, you can come down here and you can change the glow color of the chest logo, okay, to whatever you want. And there's some intensity settings here that you guys can tamper with. Brightness, emissive strength. I'm not a material guy. You guys can go in there and dick with that to your heart's content. Okay, and now we're going to talk about these animations. So, as you can see here, there's 53 animations in this folder. So that means I would have had to replace 53 animations here. There are, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 aim offsets and, you know, 23, I think, maybe animations. And then all these blend spaces would have had to been made. So these are still using the old animations, but they're used on the new mannequin simplified skeleton. Okay. Okay. Which is cool. And once again, I'm not going to dig into all the meat and potatoes of the, you know, what actually went on in the background that had to be tinkered with. Maybe there is one thing specifically that I'll show here. Actually, if you go into the map, so we'll open the map. Okay, so once again, you guys remember how you can select an enemy combatant, and then if you look over here in the details, this is where you tamper with it. Okay, so as an example, right here is where you get to pick which gun it carries. And you can also change how much health that the character has here. You can also check is female or is male. See that? But now, where this is different, oh, you can also set the trigger volume, size. Wait, where did that go? Oh, it's in here somewhere. Oh, right here. You don't do it up here, you do it here. You can change the radius of the trigger volume. Okay? Okay. So you can still change the amount of health the character has, the weapon that it carries, and the trigger radius. And yes, you can choose whether it's a male or a female. You can choose that, but it doesn't matter because it's randomized. So really, you just, you really wouldn't want to do that. Now, if you want to undo what I did, in other words, you don't want it to be randomized. You want to be able to dictate whether it's a male or a female. If you look in the enemy blueprint here, all I did was in the construction script right here, you will see that there is a random bool and it's plugged into is female. And then it does a check. If it is female, it sets the mesh here. So if you want to do it manually, you will just take out this first part right here. And then you can manually set them to be what you want them to be. Okay. So that's really it. That's all you would have to change. Still need to hook this up. All this, really, but you just take this part out. So what this random bool does is just like you guys would think it does. A bool can only be true or false. So what it does is every time it builds one of those enemy combatant blueprints, it takes some of them and sets them true, and some of them it sets them false, which then means you get a mixture of male and female enemy combatants. And it's different every time. Okay. So that might be annoying to some people, but I thought it was pretty cool myself, actually. Makes it a little different every time. Okay. There was a couple deprecated nodes. Wasn't nothing major. Okay. And if we hit simulate here, everything's still the same. So they still wander around at random. Okay. And like, watch this. So this guy right here is a dude. Okay. He's a dude. Now let's see if I simulate again, if it changes him to a chick. Oh. Right now. Nope. It may be, well, I mean, it builds them when you first load the level, right? So it ain't going to change it in between building the level. It'll be in between opening the level. Okay. So remember this guy right here. Try to remember him as a dude, and let's go open up map 2 and then come back. Okay. So we'll open map 2. And then we'll open back up map 1. And let's go see if that's a chick now. Nope, still a dude. Whatever. You guys get the point. I'm not going to sit here all day trying to make it. Random is random. Sometimes it's random in your favor, and sometimes not so much. Wait a minute. I wonder if we could do it this way. Delete. Control Z. There you go. Look at that. Now it's a chick. Delete. Control Z. Now it's a dude. Delete. Control Z. It's a dude. Delete. Control Z. It's a dude. Delete. Control Z. It's a dude. Damn it. There it is. Now it's a chick. So there you go. That's how that works. Every time it reconstructs the enemy combatants, it will diversify between male and female. Okay. Well, that's about the end of that part. So it got an update. It ain't a major update, but I will tell you guys it was still a pain in the ass. Anytime you change the character, the skeleton, it's a pain in the ass, believe me. Okay? Okay. All right, now I'd like to talk a little bit more. I'm getting tangled up in my damn cords here. Let me go back to here. I've got a disclaimer on all these products, right? So let me go back and read you guys the disclaimer. So any of my products now, you will see this. Read it. Live it. Love it. Know it. Okay? So, note, as of this time, Epic has broken Steam multiplayer in 4.27.2. Actually, just say 4.27. All the way up to the most current engine of 5, right? And they put a patch out, I think it was yesterday or it might have been today, that brought it up to 5.0.1. Okay? And I also put a link to the bug report. So if you guys have not logged in and voted here, I suggest that you do so, because the target fix is not coming until engine 5.1. Okay. I don't know when that is. I don't know how long that's going to be. That might be 6 months. It might be a year. I have no idea, but I do know that every product on the UE4 marketplace that uses the built-in Steam stuff is broken as of 4.27, and it will remain broken until they fix this. So the more people that log in and upvote this, the higher potential it is for them to fix it quicker. So if you buy my product, be aware that it's busted, and it ain't me busted it. I can't fix it. There's not a single damn thing. Well, I take that back. There is something I could do to fix it. But then if I did that, then it's no longer compliant with the UE4 marketplace standards. So I could put advanced sessions plug-in my project and go in there and use that instead of the built-in Steam stuff that comes in the engine, and it would work. Problem is, you cannot sell things on their marketplace that include third-party plugins, and that is a third-party plugin, so I can't use it. So I'm at the mercy of Epic till they fix it, along with all the other content creators. What's really going to be a pisser is if they don't fix it. Okay? Another thing to note is that engine version 4.15 all the way to 4.27 does not have any of these updates that I just demonstrated. 4.15 to 4.27 is going to stay exactly the way that it is. If there's any more updates, it will be for engine version 5 forward. So in other words, if they come out with engine 5.1 and it breaks stuff, I will go in there and fix it and maintain it. But I am no longer going to be updating anything to do with 4.15 to 4.27. It doesn't mean I won't answer questions and provide technical support. I will, but it's not going to change. So if you guys see this video and you want the newest stuff, the newest changes, just be aware that that is only for engine version 5 forward. So 4.15, it ain't going to have none of these changes in it. Okay. And now, just so you guys know, I now have I now have 3 versions of these products that I have to maintain. One version is from 4.15 to 4.24. Then they made some changes that required me to maintain another version, and that's 4.25 to 4.27. And then, of course, Unreal Engine 5 had to have a new one. So you guys can see what kind of dilemma that would be, right? So if I change something, that means I have to change it 3 goddamn times, right? So if I do an update to 4.15 and I want the same stuff in 4.25, I've got to rebuild it in 4.15 and then rebuild it again in 4.25 and then rebuild it again in 4.2 or 5. It's just too much, right? I can't do that. So there you have it. So next on the agenda for my updates is going to be the multiplayer FPS basic. That's the one that I plan on doing next. It'll have similar changes, right? So the old UE4 gray dude's going away. It'll be replaced with the new one, the new mannequin. It's going to have the same problem with animations, okay? So it's going to have the same animations in it that's in it. I'm not changing them. That's just too many. There might be some menu tweaks, and then, of course, the ability to change gender. Now, some of you may be wondering why I chose to do the gender change in 2 different ways. In the simple capture of the flag, changing the gender is done in the menu. However, in the TPS basic, the changing of the gender is done by a key press. And the main reason for that is because I wanted to demonstrate 2 different ways that you could do it as one example. The other example is the TPS basic has a different menu, right? Like you don't have the ability to switch teams or any of that stuff. So that would have required me to add more menu system stuff to the TPS basic. Okay. So I didn't. And since the simple capture the flag already had the team menu in it, all I had to do was go in there and add the ability to switch the gender in that menu. Okay. So that's why. As far as the multiplayer FPS basic, I might choose to do it completely differently in that one. Okay. I do diversity, right? I mean, some things I do the same in every project, but some things where I can, demonstrate it being done and approached a different way, I like to do that, because then people who buy my stuff, they can look at one of them and say, okay, well, he did it this way in this one. Yet in this one, he did it this way. Which one of these 2 ways do I think would suit what I'm trying to do better? Would it be better for me to do it this way, or would it be better for me to do it that way? Okay. You can never know too many ways to do something. There's always a reason for doing it one way versus doing the other. Okay. And so there you have it. So that one's next. This teams and class select, it may not get an update. Okay. I don't know. It may not, or it may get an update, but it just simply be fixing what's broken and maybe replacing the maps, but the characters, the placeholder characters and stuff, they may not change. Right. And there's a reason for that. And it is because of the nature of what this teams and class select template is to demonstrate. It's to demonstrate how to have classes and how you would set those classes to have different meshes. And on top of that, have the same class on one team be different than the same class on the opposite team. So this template here is set up and designed to demonstrate how you could do classes, but also how you could do, you know, like an Axis versus Allies type game. So in other words, if you had a Dreadnought as an Allied, and you had a Dreadnought as a Axis, a Nazi, they're still the same class, meaning they carry the same loadout. The difference is one of them looks like a German and one of them looks like an American soldier. Well, that's what that template is to demonstrate. And so the problem is, if I put the gray dude, the new gray dude in here, well, there's only a male and a female. So the best I could do would be to put one team as males and one team as females, and then do different colors for the different classes, right? So it's just not, I don't think it would get the point across as well, because people looking at it to buy it, all they would see is that, oh, well, look, you've got male and female characters. You've got one side that are red and one side that are blue. Or you've got an engineer that's blue, a dreadnought that's purple, a sniper that's green. But yet when you put different meshes, it really does get the point across better. And there are no other meshes for the Unreal Engine 5 that I have that are free, right? I mean, maybe I could get, you know, that chick that's in the advertisement, whatever her name is, but that's still just 3 meshes. So that one may not get an update. And I don't really sell a whole lot of that one anyway. I mean, I still support it. I still answer questions about it, but I really just don't sell a whole lot of it. People are not as interested in it. I don't know. Maybe it's the marketing. Maybe I'm not advertising it the way that it should be advertised, but really it's a good template because of the nature of what it's meant to demonstrate and what it's meant to do. Okay. Okay. Hey, the April sale is here. Save 50% on select products now through April 24th. I don't know. Have they even got any UE5 characters that are using the new skeleton? See, now here's something that's going to baffle me. And I don't know the answer to this. Are UE5 compliant characters going to have to be put on the new mannequin skeleton, just like the old characters had to be on the same hierarchy as that one? I don't know. I don't know how they're going to handle that and how they're going to do that. I would imagine, more than likely, a lot of content creators are just going to take whatever it is that they created and just tag it as compliant with UE5, which is technically not incorrect. I mean, you can use any character in the engine you want, but part of the requirement used to be that if you were going to create characters for Unreal Engine 4, it had to use the same skeleton hierarchy as the gray dude. Now, maybe they changed that. I mean, I'm not a character creator, so I don't know. But one of these videos I made, I told you guys there was probably going to be a shitstorm with the incompatibility of the old animations with the new skeleton and the old characters with the new characters. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what they choose to do. Right? Like if I was to look at this, I'm sure it won't say. I'm sure it won't say, you know, if it's got the new skeleton or not. Like, you're just pissing in the wind here, I guess. One of my suggestions for these content creators was to put a picture, a screenshot of the skeleton hierarchy. Because you guys, I bought a lot of characters that are not even remotely not even remotely close to what the default UE4 mannequin used to be. But yet they advertised it. When you would read the advertisement here, it would say rigged to epic skeleton. It would say yes, but yet when you went and looked at the skeleton hierarchy, it was some jacked up Mixamo skeleton or some shit that they used. So just be aware of that. Which I guess it don't matter, but if you're trying to create a game or a template or a product and you're using 3 characters on the default skeleton, UE4 skeleton, 2 characters on a Mixamo skeleton, 1 character on some weird ass other kind of skeleton, and then 3 on the DAS skeleton, you're going to have a nightmare when it comes to trying to, update animation blueprints, swap animation montage. It's just going to be a disaster. So, yeah. Hey, we got some ladies. Why would he put a screenshot of her crotch area? Why? Why would you intentionally do that? Oh, guys, I really don't know. You know, Friday's supposed to be the forum surfing day, so that ain't today. I just figured I would do this stream, talk about the updates that I did, what's coming next, and, maybe hang out for a hot minute or 5. So I guess we could go into the forum for a minute and just see what's going on in here. Multiplayer and networking. What do we got? New stuff? Pixel streaming a project using an external so-and-so. How to fix motion shake during replication on the client side. Rendered targets. I think we've already read most of these. Controller jitter after grabbing object. That's a collision issue. Implementing proper multiplayer into Lyra using EOS. Good luck with that. Huge net corrections. Camera jankiness and player pawn relative rotation. Yeah. Destroying session of each client as a host. Yeah, I believe we read most of these already in one of the other streams. Can go into blueprint. What do we got in here? Save actor array and load. How to tell if a actor is moving forwards or backwards. AI perception. Random integer, get velocity always returns 0. Any way to limit physics forces. Severe spline collision bug in engine. Set view target with blend result. Resets pitch to 0. Buildable UE4-25. Blueprint Ninja Challenge. Here's one of these guys. They ask questions and they can't get nobody to answer the questions. So instead they reword it to say a Blueprint Ninja Challenge. So show me how you make a damn ninja character. Right? I bet that's what that is. That's funny. Funny, 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 funny. Let's see. Arrow keys don't trigger any event when input mode is set to game plus UI. How to exit game after function. Map check. Timeline with alert doesn't work properly. Can I add tag by blueprint? Help me make a reactive capsule pushing system. Blueprint could not be loaded. FOV. Extract character from UE5 Lyra project. What? That shouldn't be too complicated, right? Unless he wants all the mechanics with it. Like if you just want the character, that's pretty easy to do. But if you're wanting all the damn blend spaces, montages, animations, and all, oh yeah, that's complicated. Because if you try to migrate the character, I don't think it'll even migrate because the character is actually done in C++. And the character that's in the project is literally just a child of a master class, which is done in C++. So if you're not a C++er, that Lyra project, really the only thing it's good for is assets. In other words, the character meshes, the animations, the weapon models, the sound effects, the particle effect. That's really all it's good for. Because you're not going to go in there and figure out how they done anything unless you know C++ and you can open up the master class and then go look, read it, and understand it. Let's see. Checking array in player blueprint event tick causes crash. What am I doing wrong? You shouldn't be running through a damn array on an event tick anyway. That's what you're doing wrong. You shouldn't be running through an array on an event tick. I wouldn't think you would. At a bare minimum, set some sort of a timer on event begin play, set a timer and have the timer run through the array at a certain interval. Casting not working. Cannot get velocity of AI. All actor disappear when rotate camera. How to get a reference to an unspawned character. Oh, excuse me. How would I start to implement a simultaneous weapon firing system? Is he asking about dual wielded weapons? Because I know somebody who quite some videos back showed how to set up dual wielded pistols. You know, somebody might have done that. Explanation of ALS. There's another person that got a hold of that advanced locomotion. Oh man, look at how smooth these animations are. Oh my God, it's so realistic. But how does it fucking work? How can I change the animations? How can I take these advanced locomotion animations out and put in the Modus Digital animations instead, but have it still work and use all these mechanics it uses? The simple short answer is you fucking can't. Okay? Now, that's not to say that you can't do it, but your average person is not going to be able to do that. And the main reason ain't because it's as simple as going in there and replacing one animation with another. That's fairly easy to do. The complicated part is all the data and curves and shit that he's added to all those fucking animations to drive mechanics. That's where the complication is. You know, at left foot down, trigger this anim notify to set this boolean. Right? That's the shit that's impossible to fucking figure out and understand. Looked at it many, many times. It's like hunting bag of rabid weasels. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack without a magnet. Okay. Need help with join session Steam weird bug. Yeah, it's probably 4.27, the same thing that's broken in the engine. It ain't nothing that they probably done wrong. It's the bug. Project package warning, smooth camera. Keep input pressed when controller loses focus. How to get realistic drone movement. I can't get float from another blueprint. Collapse view doesn't work. Check overlap with no collision. Steam achievements. I'm just reading through some of these. If you guys over in chat have any questions or anything, I'll be hanging out here for a little while. Let's see. Spline meshes, preventing player from falling through newly streamed levels. You got to start streaming the level in before the player gets there so that it has time to create and generate the collision. That's how you do it. It's trickery. It's a smoke screen wrapped inside of an enigma. You can't just plop a player in on event begin play or some shit like that on a streamed level. It has no collision yet. It ain't gonna happen. Let's see. How do I tell my level blueprint which item has spawned? You shouldn't be doing that in level blueprint anyway. The level blueprint is for a very limited few things. Check this out, guys. Out of everything that you guys that have been around here for a while have ever seen me do, all the projects I've made, how many times do you guys think that I have actually used the level blueprint for anything? How many times? The answer is 1. In every single one of my projects, there is one thing that goes in the level blueprint. And it is in the main menu level. And all it does is open up the main menu widget. That's it. The entire rest of my game scripting, out of all of it, that's the only thing that ever goes in my level blueprint. In the main menu, on event begin play, it gets a reference to the game instance and simply displays and adds to the viewport the main menu. That's it. I've seen people try to build entire games in the damn level blueprint, and I'm like, what in the hell are they thinking? That ain't how that goes. But I keep my mouth shut and keep to myself, right? I don't try to bash anybody or anything, but some of these people that do tutorials, I'm just like, well, that's not helpful. Show them that's not helpful. And I think Epic Games is the one way back in the day when Unreal Engine 4 first came out. I remember when they actually added the level blueprint. Used to, it didn't even have a level blueprint. They added it and they hyped it up. It's like, now you have the ability to do blueprint scripting in the level. And they did this whole series of videos scripting shit in the level blueprint. And from then on, I've seen people try to make entire games in the fucking level blueprint. And I'm like, oh my God, don't do that. And one of the main reasons is because they have a hard time getting references to things in the level, right? Like, you drop an actor in the level, for example, like say you put a weapon blueprint in the level and you want the character to be able to interact with it and pick it up. Well, instead of putting the logic either in the character blueprint, the player controller, or the actor itself, they freaking script it into the level blueprint and they do this whole get all actors of class and they plug in the weapon type, right? They do it that way. And I'm like, whoa, that's terrible. That is terrible. There is a clean, simple way to get a reference to anything in the level. Does anybody know what that is? I'm sure you do, but I'll just leave that as an open question. Simple, easy way to get a reference to anything that you point at. There's actually two ways that I can think of. One I never do because I don't build games that way. But there's two distinct ways, easy ways to get a reference to anything that you can either point your cursor at or point your crosshair at. Switching and possessing characters, switching between multiple pawns, removed from parent used to work, but now it isn't. I think we read some of these the other day when we was in here. Handle and save game changes. How to run dilation. Yep, we've read most of these, I think. Best place to add squad logic. Yeah, I remember reading that. Set gear ratio. Put a 410 gear in that bitch. Oh, is that the wrong gear ratio? Oh, I'm thinking of a Mustang. 273 is what the year model 5.0 Mustang I owned came with. It came with 273 gears and 225 horsepower. By the time I was done with it, it had 410 gears, 38 spline axles, aluminum drive shaft, a Tremec 5-speed transmission, a Lakewood blow-proof bell housing, a Motorsports SVT clutch pressure plate and throwout bearing, and all kinds of engine modifications. And it ended up with, I think it was 340 horsepower, naturally aspirated, with 175 horses of nitrous on it. It was a badass vehicle. So, Fourth of Jolt, you won the whole entire internet. You're absolutely correct. However, in Unreal Engine 4, I don't think they call them raycasts. They call them line traces or sphere traces or capsule traces. But essentially, it's the same thing, right? It draws a line from one point in space to the other, and it will detect what it hits anywhere in between. And if you can detect it, there's your reference. The other way, which is, once again, I don't build games this way, there is also a built-in function, get object under mouse cursor or some bullshit like that. So if you're building one of them weird games like where you click in the game and your character moves to that location or whatever, that same functionality can be used to point your cursor at an object in a world, in the level, click on it, and it'll get a reference to whatever's under it. Something to that effect. I don't build games like that, but I'm pretty sure that it would do it too. And I think there might be even another complicated way, which I've never set up, which is something to do with what's in the view screen, like what your camera's looking at. I think you can get a reference that way too, potentially. But I've never set anything like that up. But it seems like there's some sort of node in the engine that says something to the effect of get object in view screen or some bullshit like that. My E key won't trigger anything. Well, that sucks. Line trace not showing. Vehicle movement, floating pond movement, set sound. Maintaining inventory variables, save procedural calculations to permanent BP variable. actors not recognizing when another actor is destroyed. Enemy AI for co-op game. Hey, I know somebody that's got a template. That they sell on the UE4 marketplace that actually just got an update that has enemy AI for a co-op game. $19.99. Get yours today. How to keep macro and function libraries. Event dispatcher not working. Pan in your game saying launch character sets is falling to true. Well, that's because you're in the air. It's gonna. Unless you create your own custom movement mode system, right? When you're not on the ground, you're in the air. And if you launch the character, essentially launch character node does exactly the same thing as the jump button does. The only difference is you have a little bit more control over the strength and the direction that it launches you. So as an example, let's say you wanted a character that when you hit the jump button, it not only launches you up in the air, but it launches you in the forward direction. Well, you can't really do that with a jump and unjump or jump or stop jumping, but you can do it really easily with a launch character node because you get to put in the direction that the character goes. So you can put a little bit up and a little bit forward and anywhere in between. Problem adding component to blueprint. Oh shit, we tried to do that the other day. Remember that? Where we was trying to make the default UE5 first person janked up project shoot replicated balls of death. Holy mother of God, that's what I was trying to do. Add a child actor component. Yeah, that didn't work out worth a damn for me. So I feel your pain, buddy. How to remove the glow from Spotlight. Let's see. Access none, trying to read property widget component. How can I get the current location of an actor? Well, that's easy, right? Isn't it just get world location? I think. How do I get a reference to the level blueprint? You don't. You don't get a reference to the level blueprint. You don't. You don't put things in there. Please, for the love of God and all that's holy, somebody unbrainwash people to quit using the level blueprint. I'm just being a dick now, but yeah. BP main game instance target editor. Multi-sphere trace by channel. Behavior different between 4.27 and 5. I wouldn't doubt it. They all the time changing something. Camera trickery, magic trick, cool things. Spring arm camera rotation lag not working as intended. Send event to multiple blueprints. That would be, I mean, there's probably a couple ways to do it, but there's a built-in way to do it. I think it's event dispatcher, right? Isn't that what it is? I think an event dispatcher does something similar to what he's saying. There's two things. There's a blueprint interface, and then there is an event dispatcher. They're very similar, but they have two distinct purposes, I believe. Right? And I believe the event dispatcher is the one where you can send a signal out, and any actor in the level that has that event dispatcher set up is listening for that. I think that's how that works. So in other words, think of it this way. Say you made a blueprint and you put a light bulb in it and the light bulb was turned off. And you put 20,000 light bulbs in your level. And you want to mash one button and it turns on all the goddamn light bulbs at exactly the same time, right? One way you could do that would be with an event dispatcher. You set up a key press on your character to send out a signal, and any actor in the level that's listening will do whatever you program it to do in the event dispatcher when it receives it. I think that's how that works. Or you could do it the janky way, right? Which is get all actors of class, right? And do it that way. But the proper way, it would be an event dispatcher, I believe. Let's see. What is the best solution if I want to switch between games? Character will not move left or right. How to fix this in UE5? With a hammer. Fix it. Change model in game with widget buttons. That's a trick question, by the way. That is a trick loaded question. Could Lyra have been made in 100% blueprints? Probably. Nobody answered, it don't look like, but probably. Would it do a 50 versus 50 PvP? No. Would it do 10 versus 10? Probably not. But I'm pretty sure you could do a 5v5 and it would be okay. With a listen server, 5v5. With a dedicated server, you could probably do 10v10 pretty good, all in blueprints. But anything more than that, and I would say, yeah, you're going to have to look into C++. Child actor component appear at editor but not in game. Packaging failed! Exclamation point. Let's see here. I need help with blueprints, don't we all? Staggering spawn actors. I'm just looking here. Not seeing anything that just makes me want to jump into the engine and blow up something. Pickup system. Everybody's still infatuated with pickup systems. Are timelines frame dependent? I don't think they are. I think timelines are independent. Holy shit, mother of God, what in the hell is he trying to build? Timelines are FPS independent. That's the great thing about them. I thought they were. You can make tick be frame rate independent. Okay? You can make that be frame rate independent. But you're better to use timelines anyway. But yeah, you can do it. You have to multiply it, do some math with the delta time or some bullshit like that. I can't remember exactly how I did it before. But it's math. It's got some math involved based on the delta time. The delta time, if I'm not mistaken, is the time in between the frames. And so if you're trying to get something to happen consistently, regardless of whether you have 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second, if you multiply that by the time in between the frames, if you're only getting 30 frames per second, the time in between the frames is going to be larger than if it's 60 frames per second. So if you're multiplying what you're doing by the amount of time in between the frames, it makes no difference what your frame rate is. Which is exactly what timelines do in the first place, so you should just use a timeline. Ask me how I know that. Applying a jetpack system. That's how I know that. Wait a minute. How come the client's only going this high, but the server can fly to infinity and beyond? Well, it's because one screen was getting 60 frames per second and the other was getting 48 frames per second, the client. And so, voila. You tweak the value on the server to get it to do what you're trying to do, but yet the client can't even get his fat ass up off the ground. That was chasing around a bag of rabid weasels for about a month. And then shortly after I actually figured that out and got it working, they did some kind of an update to Unreal Engine 4 and it broke it anyway. So I had to figure out a completely different way to do it. And the way that I do it now, the way that we did it in the UE4 or UE5, can we make a character fly video? Remember where we took the phase animations and put them on that chick and made it where she could fly around? Like literally fly around, not a fake fly around. That's the same way that I did it in the update to my jetpack product before I took it off the market. And it replicates flawlessly. So just so you guys know, you have to set a couple variables to be replicated and run some stuff on the server instead of just on the client. But yeah, works. What's the point of switching from UE4 to UE5? The same point is switching from Windows 10 to Windows 11. There is no goddamn point, except you have to learn shit all over again and they can sell you more shit. That's why. There ain't a damn thing they done in Unreal Engine 5 that they couldn't have updated Unreal Engine 4 to do. And you know, I remember once upon a time, Tim Sweeney actually coming out and saying that Unreal Engine 4 would be the last Unreal Engine version, and anything they needed to do, they would just add it to Unreal Engine 4. Well, that didn't happen, did it? Nope, it didn't. Changed his mind. I guess you can change your mind. Let's see, how to get the game to recognize which material is assigned. Splat. Spot. Not colliding with other spot. I think you mean sprite. You guys are awful quiet over there in chat today. Am I missing something, or is UE5 a little bugged? Well, I don't know. It bugs the shit out of me. So I guess it is bugged. Can I call a custom event? You can call anything from anywhere. The better question is, should you? That's the better question. You can call anything from anything. You can get from any blueprint to any blueprint. But the question is, should you? Character falling speed. That's that Z velocity we talked about. That's how you get it. That's one way to get it. There's probably others. Reading. UE5 preview can't open any blueprints maps. I remember this shit here too. Help! I pressed something and I turned something on and I don't know what the hell it is. I've done that shit before. I fucked it up so bad one time I had to uninstall it and reinstall it. I couldn't figure, even the reset to default shit wouldn't even get it back. I don't remember what it was, but holy shit, that was a disaster. Hats show up fine in preview, but not when I press play. Server travel doesn't work when I packaged. I wonder. Things to consider. I activated the seamless travel in the travel map and others game modes. Well, that would have been my first guess, as he didn't have that checked, but he says he does. So that could be a multitude of things. One thing is it don't work in the editor, and it don't matter how much you cuss it. It ain't gonna. How to make the player explode into chunks. Why does everybody want to blow up everything? I don't know. All right, guys, I think I've streamed enough. I will see you guys Friday. We'll do another stream Friday evening. Maybe we'll get into something, maybe not. So with that, you guys take care. This is John Galt, and we will see you in another stream. Have a good one.